Okay, our next step is going to be roasting walnuts. I usually do mine in the oven. It's a lot easier than trying to do them on the stove top. You want to just lightly grease your pan down. Pour your walnuts in. You need about 2 cups of walnuts. Flatten them out. And stick them in. Okay, and then I started heating up my Dutch oven, and I'm going to add a little bit of oil, and then we're going to start adding our chicken. Good. So these are all things you can do prior to putting it in a slow cooker. If you want to cook in a slow cooker, I found the Dutch oven works just as well. I would do differently than the first time I did it was I'm trying not to cook all the chicken at once because I found that it was impossible to brown the chicken because I had too much meat in the pan. If you put too much meat in the pan, it tends to braise the meat as opposed to actually brown it. So probably in ancient times they wouldn't have done this. They would have just thrown it in boiling water and cooked it. But I think this adds a little more flavor to it. Since we're more ancient Sumerian inspired than trying to make something that nobody in the family would eat, we're going to go for flavor. So some of the other nuts besides walnuts, they probably prefer to be almonds, pistachios, things like that. I think I know someone's doing a date bread on one of the other tutorials, and there's also a famous dessert, which is like a spiral cookie that you cut into spirals. That was basically given as an offering to Nana. I think it's I think that uses pistachio. It looked like a lot of the dessert recipes were ground up nuts and dates and things like that, made into balls rolled in pistachios, which looked interesting, but I wanted to do something more savory oriented that you can have like for dinner or to eat. You can see chicken starting to brown. Looks like the nuts are done. Let me take them out. Now they're looking. Give them a little stir. Put them back in. So you can see the chicken's starting to brown. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out of this and get ready to do the onions. Okay, so let's check our walnuts. Oh, those are perfect. A nice golden brown color. We'll leave those out to cool. And then we're going to add our onions. So I'm gonna add just a smidge more oil. And that's 3 cups of onions, roughly. And I'll put it up. Fry those up for about 5 minutes. And we're going to put our spices in this bowl. First step we're going to do is a teaspoon of turmeric. And give it a nice golden brown color. I have some cumin. Teaspoon of cumin. And then a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. And half a teaspoon of black pepper. And 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And when that's together, let's cook onions. Okay, so you can see from the onions they're getting like a nice golden brown color. I'm going to scrape the fond off the bottom of the pan. And then we're going to add our garlic. I'm sure if you use fresh garlic, it'll taste phenomenal, but this is what I got. 4 cloves of garlic. Yeah, what the heck? I'll throw another one in there. That's probably pretty good. And we're going to stir this up and add our spice. I can smell the spices blooming in the pot. I'm going to cook it for about a minute or 2. Oh, that's heavenly. And the next step we're going to do is grind up our walnuts. Put them in here. I'm going to get a nice powdered texture. Looks pretty good. While we're cooking our spices, we're going to add some orange zest to that. So we want 3 1/2-inch or 2-inch spices pieces. The best you can, basically, is what I would say. That's my food taster in the background, one of them. Put 3 pieces of orange peel in there and stir it up. And I'm going to turn the heat down. So we're going to add our chicken broth and our pomegranate molasses. You see their pomegranate syrup, you see how thick that is. So I'm going to add the chicken broth to it and stir it up to see if I can help liquefy some of that molasses. You see it turning kind of a nice, authentic Sumerian blood red. Or purple, actually. And get as much of that pomegranate juice in there. We'll just bring this a little bit to get some of the fond off the bottom, because that's the tastiest part of the dish. We're gonna add our chicken. And our walnuts. And stir that up. Nice quality to that. So tonight we're serving dinner over a bed of rice. In Persia, that's considered traditional. Usually it's served over something called ragi, which is a saffron-infused crispy rice that's cooked in a pot. Which looks incredibly good, but I didn't have the time to make that. I'm just going to serve this over a bed of rice. You can serve it over barley if you want to be super authentic, or with the barley bread, pita, that sort of thing.
Here we are at Siduri's Inn at the end of the road, the Sumerian alewife. And I see you're dressed as you would be in a Sumerian kitchen in the 21st century. I'm about to try the Akkadian bird, which is landed here on Siduri's table.
What does it taste like?
Delicious, really yummy. Nice combination.
Sam, let's see you take a bite. Oh yeah. Don't just hold it in your mouth. You gotta swallow it. Oh, very good.
Thumbs up.
Here's my Sumerian food taster right here. Would you like to help me? What do you think? Can you help, Mommy?
Well, this is
I think she's judiciously avoiding vegetables.
If you click where it says stop share, do you see that?
Yes.
Now you're back.
All
So
right.
you got a lot of love in the chat. So hopefully you've seen some of that. Does anyone have any comments or questions for Maeve while she's on? We've got a couple minutes before the next presenter begins.
Yes, how long does it take you to deliver?
Good question. Well, I have to send out credit to my father because he really was kind of the life of the party at that last, at the dinner table. You couldn't see him, but you could hear him.
What do you think the Sumerians did not have food processors, so did they like smash those walnuts with rocks or?
Probably. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You know? And if you look at their beer and stuff, they had a lot of thick, like their beer, you had to drink through straws because, you know, they would have to, because it was so much junk floating in it. I think John did a Sumerian beer for us once, and everybody was pretty disgusted by it.
Yeah, well, he did other Sumerian beers that were a little less accurate and thick. There's a question in the chat. What would you use in place of chicken for a vegetarian version?
Oh, well, that's the nice thing about this recipe was you can make it with just straight chickpeas, or you could make it with straight chicken or a combination of the two, that sort of a thing. So it's a, I can't remember, was it feastingathome.com? I think was the
I put the link in the chat. So you.
Yeah, Feasting at Home. So you can mix it up and you can serve it over whatever you want. but they recommended chickpeas for vegetarians. And I guess our biggest critique of it was to be putting more vegetables in it, because I think they used a lot of root vegetables, onions, things like that, and I think it would kind of bring out the flavor a little better.
Ed, not to put you on the spot, but do you know if they had mortars and pestles yet at that point, or anything
Yeah,
like
they
that?
did.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
gonna say.
And actually, may I suggest the oldest cuisine in the world by Jean Botero. So this tells you all about cooking in ancient Mesopotamia.
Oh, cool.
So I wasn't sure if you were familiar with the book,
I used most
but
of the
yeah, Botero's a great. I'm sorry.
Ed, do you
what
think
was
you
that
could
again?
type that in the chat, or hold the book up again and I'll type it in the chat? Okay, thank you.
It's the oldest cuisine in the world.
Got it. Thank you.
Maeve, I wanted to say that who edited your video? They did a good job.
Oh, that would be my talented husband.
Ah, give him creds. It was good editing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he just got this new camera, so I think you enjoyed doing that. You know, it was a lot of fun. You know,
Cool.
finding special effects and things like that.
It was smooth, fancy.
Yeah. So
Great production value.
Yeah.
what was interesting picking a recipe, because a lot of the recipes out there had things like tomatoes and potatoes and corn and stuff in it. And I really wanted something that just had stuff they had in it, so that, and then I found this whole like section of like Iraqi and Persian recipes. Apparently the other things they cooked with they would go out and pick wild greens. So, and it was interesting because there was this whole thread on it where they were all comparing it, and they said how using things like greens in America, like kale and stuff, didn't capture the flavor as much as the stuff that grows around in that area. So it was kind of cool, you know, learning a little bit more about it. But yeah, but they did eat a lot of stews and soups and things. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much, Maeve. That was really excellent presentation, and I know you and Randy put a lot of work into that. So thank you for all you did and for being on. Any last questions before we take a break? Before the next program is Oberon Zell, and I'm pretty sure he's lurking here, who will be speaking about Mysteries of Mesopotamia, which is what his new book is on. So we can get some interesting ideas about that in about 10 minutes, or maybe a few minutes more than that. So any last thoughts or questions? Bunch of thank yous. Okay, so not hearing any, I'm going to put up the bio break slide, and if you guys want to stick around for Oberon, I really recommend you stick around for Oberon's. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I think there is something recording. So Helen, Anna, I think I can't stop the recording myself. I think you're going to have to stop it. So I'm going to give you the host back for a minute so that you can do that. And then you can give it back to me.
I can stop it without the host.
Okay, all right, great.